Okay, so CNN decided to do a segment that said these 5 freshman congresswomen changed history by becoming unlikely leaders on impeachment. That sound familiar? Yeah, I also thought that they were talking about the squad, you know, Rashida Tlaib, AOC, Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Pressley, and it turns out they weren't. They were talking about a group of white congresswomen that no one has ever heard of and giving them all the credit for impeachment. I mean, this video is... Let's just take a look and then we'll discuss.
Even before they were elected,
you have adopted the badass label.
These freshman congresswomen created their own group, the Badasses.
We were out running for Congress, across the country, and we kept running into each other. Badasses kind of came organically from the group since we all had either served in the military or in the CIA.
What? When did you do that? That was just sitting in there. We have a lot in common. We all were working to flip seats, to be elected in places where voters may not typically vote for people like us or with our backgrounds.
Navy veterans Mikey Sherrill and Elaine Luria. Air Force veteran Chrissy Houlihan, ex-CIA officers Alyssa Slotkin and Abigail Spanberger. Translating their service is exactly what they did with their 180 on starting an impeachment inquiry. Going from no to yes after hearing President Trump admit he spoke to Ukraine's leader about Joe Biden. Others followed suit, including the House Speaker.
The specter of having the sitting president of the United States, use leverage over a foreign leader to get dirt on an opponent. Like that very basic idea, I think, cut for us as national security people just close to the bone on, sort of our democratic institutions.
They penned an op-ed along with 2 freshman male veterans.
It was a great example of the power of teamwork and the power of kind of putting country above
party. Was it all for one and one for all?
Oh, absolutely.
I think we all sort of came to that conclusion together. We texted each other, and I think we were all going, okay, I think this is all changed. This is a bright line.
Backing an impeachment inquiry is risky political business for these congresswomen, already some of the most vulnerable in the House, Democrats who won in mostly Trump territory.
I believe that if I am out there explaining what these allegations are and why they are so deeply concerning, that people will understand why we had to take a stand. All of us in our prior lives, all the time, had to make hard calls for the reasons we thought were right when we knew that not everyone would understand or even know. And that, to me, is something I feel comfortable doing because I've always had to do it.
Even so, this is a group still trying to find their sea legs in politics.
I'm supervising the operation of nuclear reactors. I never turned to the reactor operator and said, are you a Democrat? Are you a Republican? It was new to jump into such a partisan environment.
They represent swing districts, very different from another, more famous female freshman group, the Squad.
Okay, so I'm just going to put it out there. The group of freshman females that people know about is the Squad. Are you guys the anti-Squad?
What I tell people in my district, the left wing of our party has created such momentum behind things like moving forward on our environment.
None of us is ever going to get in a Twitter war with anyone else. If we have a concern with someone, we're going to go right up and talk to them about it. And we're not going to add unhelpful rhetoric to an already bad tone coming out of Washington. I don't think any of us want to be the loudest voice in the room. I just want to be one of the most effective.
Their previous service taught them to be fearless, which comes in handy now.
There's not a vertical chain of command structure, so at previous...
Well, there is, but obviously it sounds like you guys aren't following it.
No, but no one can fire us. I mean, except the people that elected us.
Yeah.
None of us came to Congress from a district that wants us to just sit here and be quiet and learn the ropes. They want us to engage, and they want change, and they want it now.
Okay, look, man, this video is so terrible on so many levels. I really have to go through it bit by bit to show you how CNN is being misleading and completely disingenuous. Okay, the whole vibe, the whole message that they're trying to give off with this video is that these 5 congresswomen that no one has ever heard of, okay, I cover politics and I've never even heard of them. That's how unpopular they are. They're trying to tell you that these white congresswomen that no one's ever heard of somehow are the champions of impeachment and they've been leading this crusade against Trump. And what are you talking about? Okay, everyone knows that the most vocal members in the Democratic Party who have been calling for impeachment for months now are the squad. Okay, Rashida Tlaib famously said, "Impeach the motherfucker," back in February. The squad gave a press conference in July calling for impeachment after Trump was viciously attacking them. This has been going on for months. They didn't just start in September. These congresswomen that CNN is talking about just started in September. The fact is that my black and brown sisters in the squad, they're the ones who've had to face the full brunt of all these vicious attacks by the GOP and Trump. You know, Trump telling Ilhan Omar to go back to her country, calling them un-American, and people sending them death threats. And the GOP saying that the squad, these 4 women of color, shouldn't be serving in Congress. They're the ones who had to face the backlash. They're the ones who had to carry the cost for calling for impeachment. Not these 5 white congresswomen that no one has ever heard of who just recently stepped on board. Because remember, Nancy Pelosi just launched an impeachment inquiry. We already had over 100 Democrats in the House on board with impeachment. So who are these 5 that no one's ever heard of coming out of nowhere who have finally changed their mind after we've already launched an impeachment inquiry? They're just calling for impeachment because now it's popular. Let's go through this bit by bit because I have to. It's just one giant video full of misinformation and lies, and I have to break it down.
Exactly what they did with their 180 on starting an impeachment inquiry. Going from no to yes after hearing President Trump admit he spoke to Ukraine's leader about Joe Biden. Others followed suit, including the House Speaker.
The specter of having the sitting president of the United States, use leverage over a foreign leader to get dirt on an opponent. Like that very basic idea, I think, cut for us as national security people just close to the bone on, sort of our democratic institutions.
Really? The Ukraine phone call, that's what changed your mind. That's what made you finally get on board for impeachment. The Ukraine phone call. Not the fact that Trump has been profiting off of his own businesses the whole time he's in office and letting foreign leaders all stay at Trump Towers and overpay him. Not the fact that he's been supporting genocide in Yemen, that even a bipartisan bill came to his desk to stop U.S. support for Saudi Arabia and Yemen, and he vetoed it. Not that. Not the fact that children are dying at the border. That didn't sway you. It was a phone call to Ukraine's president. Wow. I mean, that speaks volumes to your moral integrity. What's so special about that anyway? I mean, again, like I said, we had over 100 Democrats in the House already on board for impeachment.
Democratic institutions.
They penned an op-ed along with 2 freshman male veterans.
It was a great example of the power of teamwork and the power of kind of putting country above
Was
party.
it all for one and one for all?
Oh, absolutely.
And again, this thing about the op-ed, they're trying to highlight this op-ed that these women did in the Washington Post. Dude, Rashida Tlaib did an op-ed in the Washington Post as well, months before, calling for impeachment. Why aren't you talking about that? It was in the same newspaper. Oh, that doesn't matter? It only matters when a bunch of white women do it? Look, there you go, Rashida Tlaib. While Trump spews hate, I continue to do my job. This is July 29th.
All for one and one for all?
Oh, absolutely.
I think we all sort of came to that conclusion together. We text each other, and I think we were all going, okay, I think this is all changed. This is a bright line.
You came to that conclusion over text? What are you making, brunch plans? I mean, they are so utterly callous about it. It's like...
Backing an impeachment inquiry is risky political business for these congresswomen, already some of the most vulnerable in the House. Democrats who won in mostly Trump territory.
Really? That's risky business? Not the 4 women of color in the squad who've been getting death threats and being called un-American and told to go back to their countries? That's not risky business when they call for impeachment and have to face that kind of backlash and attacks from the president himself. Trump goes to rallies and chants disgusting things at them. His supporters send the squad death threats because they've been calling for impeachment. That's not risky business. But this is. These white women who, oh my God, they won their seats in Trump counties. That's risky business. Do you see the disconnect here? It's like CNN and whoever did this story has no awareness of the reality that women of color have to go through.
I believe that if I am out there explaining what these allegations are and why they are so deeply concerning, that people will understand why we had to take a stand.
Also, no, I do not believe that. I really, really doubt that if you try to explain to Trump voters that he has to be impeached over a phone call to the Ukrainian president, they're not going to change their minds, okay? Trump has an approval rating of 94% in his own party. That's the highest of any president in modern history. Think about that for 1 second. He has the highest approval rating within his party of any modern president. This is insane. So no, you are not going to sway Trump voters into believing that he has to be impeached because he called the president of Ukraine to get dirt on Joe Biden, who Trump voters most definitely do not like anyway. So I don't know in what reality these people are living in.
They represent swing districts, very different from another more famous female freshman group, the Squad.
Okay, so I'm just going to put it out there. The group of freshman females that people know about is the Squad. Are you guys the anti-Squad?
What I tell people in my district, the left wing of our party has created such momentum behind things like moving forward on our environment.
The left wing in our party. I thought you are a left wing party. I mean, this just goes to show you how far right the Democratic Party has actually shifted, you know? I mean, by anyone's standard, both the Republican Party and the Democratic Party are right-wing parties, okay? If the Democratic Party was a party in Europe, it would be a right-wing centrist party, not a left-wing party. I think what she means is the progressive wing within the party, which is, you know, the roots of the actual Democratic Party, which is what it's supposed to represent, working class people. What she's saying is the left wing of our party, the progressive wing, that's what she means, has created momentum behind climate change. I mean, yes, that's true with AOC calling for the Green New Deal, but to reduce the progressive movement to just climate change, I mean, that's just a blatant lie, okay? The only ones who are fighting for a $15 minimum wage are the progressives. The only ones who are fighting for Medicare for all are the progressives. The only ones who want substantive action on climate change are the progressives. The ones who've been calling for impeachment, which this whole video is about, were the progressives. They're the ones who started before you. But of course, she can't tell you that because it makes her look bad. Because she doesn't even know what she stands for. She's just another corporate Democrat.
None of us is ever going to get in a Twitter war with anyone else. If we have a concern with someone, we're going to go right up and talk to them about it. And we're not going to add unhelpful rhetoric to an already bad tone coming out of Washington.
We're not going to add unhelpful rhetoric. Okay, let me translate that for you from politician speak to layman's terms. What she's saying is we're going to play nice with the establishment and we're not going to push back on anything. That's what she's saying. Okay? And I love how she reduces everything the Squad has done to just like Twitter flame wars. Like as if, you know, those are just empty words and a waste of time and they carry no weight behind them. Again, these women in the Squad, these women of color who have been the subject of so many vicious racist attacks for months now, were calling for impeachment before you. All right? They weren't just saying crap on Twitter. These are actually progressives. These are women who got elected with no corporate money. They don't take money from PACs like you do. Okay? They're not running on empty words. They walk the walk. AOC pays her staff $15 an hour. Minimum wage. She walks the walk. She doesn't just talk the talk like you do.
I don't think any of us want to be the loudest voice in the room. I just want to be one of the most effective.
And this notion of being the most effective, is that why you support the Green New Deal? Oh, that's right, you don't. Is that why you don't take corporate money? Oh, that's right, you do. Effective. Sure. And, you know, of course, it's very easy for these women to just sit there literally and talk so callously, like, yeah, we're not going to do that. And we're above the fray, you know, and we don't engage in that. Yeah, that's very easy when you don't get death threats from the president, and when you don't get attacked by the president, and you don't get death threats from his supporters, and you don't have to face any attacks in the media all the time. That's very easy. You know why? Because no one's ever even heard of you, because you stand for nothing. Okay? You don't even stand for democratic principles, and you don't even represent a threat to the establishment. So you are effectively useless in every way you look at it. So it's very easy for you to talk. Of course, you don't want to be the loudest voice in the room because you don't represent anything, and you take corporate money from Comcast and trust funds that push through dark money. Of course, you're not going to be the loudest voice in the room because you take corporate money and you do what your corporate masters tell you to do. And you don't want to stick your neck out for any principles. You're happy sitting there and just like going along and being one of the last people in the house to jump on the whole impeachment movement. They just do what's politically safe for them. They don't represent anything except corporate donors. So again, there you go. I mean, this entire video was a, you know, whitewashing of the struggle and the giant push that the squad have been doing for months now to shift the party towards impeachment. And the fact that CNN is giving these women the spotlight and making them out to be some kind of heroes that are, you know, going against the tide and pushing so hard against the establishment is an absolute joke. It's not even a joke, actually. It's frankly very, very, very insulting. Okay? Not just to what the squad have done, but what the squad has been through as well, because they're the ones who have to face these racist attacks. They're the ones who have to be called un-American. They're the ones who are told to go back to their countries for standing up for what they believe in. Okay? And these women only came along when it's conveniently and politically safe for them. And they try to steal the thunder from Ilhan Omar and AOC and Rashida Tlaib and Ayanna Pressley. What the hell, man? That's just insulting, all right? So don't negate what my black and brown sisters have been through, because they're the ones who were sticking their necks out when it wasn't popular, when it wasn't politically convenient for them to do so. So show some goddamn respect. This is just completely insulting. And I'm glad that Twitter just, you know, gave it to CNN. This is what the corporate media will do. Again, this is further proof. They will always smear progressives any chance they get. Any chance they get, they will undermine what progressives have done. They will smear them. They will downplay their efforts and their endeavors and the things that they have strived for in politics. This is what they do, okay? That's what CNN does. That's what MSNBC does, all right? You know, next thing they're going to tell you that Bernie Sanders isn't the one who started the push for Medicare for all. It was Kamala Harris. Like, this is what they do. They literally rewrite history. So there you go. That's the great value version of the squad.